Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Alex. I'm a coach, and this podcast is all about self-development and helping you to live a happier and more fulfilling life. So on this week's In Focus session, we'll be discussing the best habits that you can implement in 2022 to make sure that you get the most out of this year. So I just want to take a quick moment to shout out the sponsors of this episode, London Media Lounge. They're a West London based studio space. They have recording studios, they have YouTube spaces, they have green screens, and they'll also handle content production, social media management, anything that you're looking for. They're really easy to work with, and they'll create a bespoke content production package just for you. So why don't you save time and let the professionals handle your content business? To get in touch with them, head over to londonmedialounge.co.uk and let them know that Alex sent you. So we've stepped into a brand new year, 2021 and 2020 are behind us. We got a fresh start, and it's an opportunity to look at, okay, what is it that we want to create from this year? What is it that we want to get out of this year? And what are some of the most impactful habits that I can put in place to ensure that I get the most out of the 12 months ahead of us? Because this is how I always like to approach the year. It's not so much about, okay, the goals. It's like, what are the habits and the things that I need to put in place, the systems in a way, to ensure that the goals that I want to create and the things I want to do for myself in a year happen. So I wanted to break down just 3 habits which I think are going to be the best life-changing habits that you can implement in 2022. And the first of those is not believing in motivation. Interesting, right? But the reason I say that is because, to me, the idea of motivation and how motivated we are and what level our motivation is at is just an idea that we have in our head, right? It's just a story that we have in our head. It's a belief that we have, right? It's a feeling more than anything. It's a feeling of, do I feel motivated? Do I not feel motivated? And the reason I say that you need to stop believing this is because it's very easy to wait around for a good feeling in order to take action on something that you know you need to do. And it's also just as easy to use that as an excuse to not take action when you don't have the good feeling. So to me, motivation doesn't really exist, right? Because if you're really committed to something, and we'll come on to that in a second, if you're really committed to something, you don't need the motivation to get it done, right? So for me, motivation is just a belief that we have, and we oftentimes use it as an excuse to not get stuff done. And I've done this in my own life. I've used motivation as an excuse to not do so much and procrastinate on the things that I'm trying to do, procrastinate on my daily tasks, procrastinate on like podcast stuff, coaching stuff, building my business, all those kinds of things, and nothing gets done. Whereas if you don't buy into the story that you need motivation in order to complete a task, then you can just get a task done regardless of the feeling that you have, right? So I'll give you an example. I'm going to use like an athlete as an example, because a lot of the time an athlete is probably not that motivated to train. Probably not that motivated. They travel a lot, you know, they're up and down, their sleep patterns are broken, they're on planes, they're in buses, they're being driven around. Like, they probably don't have the motivation to train every day. But that doesn't come into question. Regardless of the feeling, regardless of whether they feel motivated or not, they still find the time to train every day, because they know ultimately it's beneficial for what they want to create, which is to further their career in whatever sport it is, right? And you can even look at yourself. Like for me, like a lot of last year, I used the excuse of I don't feel motivated to go to the gym to not go to the gym. But really and truly, there's plenty of times where I've woken up in the morning, not felt motivated to go to the gym, but still gone to the gym and had a very productive session working out or whatever and doing my exercise. Or there's times where I don't feel motivated to go out for a walk, but yeah, I can still do it. So the point that I want to make is that your level of motivation, whatever that is, doesn't have to play a role in whether you can go and do something or not. It's just a feeling that you have of whether you feel motivated or not. But it doesn't have to stop you from taking action on something, because if it does, it's just becoming an excuse that you're using to stop yourself taking action on a task and procrastinating. So the second thing that I wanted to talk about, which kind of leads on from the motivation thing, is making yourself committed to things, making commitments for yourself, and taking intentions that you have and turning them into commitments. And the reason I say that is because when you're committed to something, you will get that thing done regardless, right? So again, the level of motivation that you have doesn't come into play. So I'll give you another example. If you're a parent and you have young children to look after, whether you feel motivated or not to look after those children, feed them, change their nappies, etc., etc., take them to school, however you feel motivation wise doesn't come into play, because you're committed to look after your children. You're committed to get them to school. You're committed to change their nappies. You're committed to feed them. So how motivated you feel doesn't come into play, and therefore you can take action regardless of how you feel. So a lot of us have intentions about stuff. I intend to go to the gym. I intend to complete my weekly tasks. I intend to get the cleaning done. I intend to learn a new language. But we very rarely see those intentions through, because we're not really committed to those things. And there's a very clear difference between intentions and commitments, which I spoke about on a previous episode. You can go back and listen to. But the truth of it is that the difference between a commitment and an intention is that an intention is something that you wish to happen. A commitment is something that you're going to make sure happens regardless. It's almost like you make the commitment and it's done. When you're a parent, you're committed to your child. When you work somewhere, you're committed to getting to the place of work on time. When you take your driving lessons, you're committed to taking the lessons so that you can learn to pass your tests. So you will do them regardless, and you'll get the outcome that you want more often than not. And this is the difference between having a commitment and an intention. So for this year, if you really want to change the way that your year is going to play out compared to the previous years that you've had, the last 2-3 years, the biggest thing that you can do for me, the most life-changing thing that you can do for me, is to create commitments and be really committed. Because when you have a really high level of commitment to something, you will ensure that you stay committed to that thing, whether it's working out, whether it's learning something new, whether it's your work goals, your fitness goals, your relationship goals, whatever it is. If you are committed enough, you will put a system in place that allows you to get whatever it is that you want to do done, regardless of how you feel, because how you feel doesn't come into it, because you are committed to it. If you're committed every day to brushing your teeth, it doesn't matter how motivated you feel or in what mood you're in, you will find the time to brush your teeth because it's something you're committed to. If you're committed to going to bed every night, it doesn't matter how you feel, you're going to go to bed every night. I know that's a silly example, but it's true, right? If you're committed to eating and staying alive, you're going to eat every day, once, twice, 3 times a day, whatever it is. You're committed to it. So whether you feel motivated or not to make something or eat or to go out to eat, like, you still find the time to do it. So that's a very big one. Like, the commitments that you have will show you exactly what you are trying to create in the world. So I'd like you to just have a little think about what are the things that you are really committed to this year, or what intentions do you have that you want to turn into commitments. So have a little think about that. You can DM me those. I'd love to hear them, actually. DM me on Instagram at I'mAlexManzi. Let me know what are the intentions you have that you'd love to turn into commitments. And then number 3 that I wanted to talk about of life-changing habits for 2022 is movement, because we've all heard it before a million times, right? Move your body more, get outside more, etc., etc. We know it's good for us. We know it's good for us. Like, I don't have to tell you all the amazing benefits of it, right? But I can only tell you my experience. And my experience is the days where I'm inside and I don't go outside, I really feel a difference in my thinking. And what I mean by that is, like, when I go outside and I go for a walk, even if it's 20 minutes, sometimes it might be an hour or more, but even if it's just 20 minutes, right? The movement that I get through my body allows me to come out of my head and the noise of all this busy thinking and get into my body. And by doing that, the thinking that I have just starts to kind of tumble away. It just tumbles. My thinking becomes quieter. And even after just like a 20-minute walk, more often than not, my mind has quietened down enough that I can actually have some clarity over whatever it is that I'm thinking about, or if I've just been stressed and I've got loads of busy thinking going on, like, that thinking will quiet down. So movement isn't just good for your body. Like, again, I can tell you all of the benefits for your body, right? But it's good for helping to quiet your mind, because if you walk for 20 minutes or more often than not, I can guarantee you by the end of that walk, your mind is going to feel a lot quieter than it does when you went out on the walk. And that's only going to have benefits for you in life, because in life, we make the best decisions. We see things from a better perspective. We are being a better person in the world in general when our mind is a lot quieter. So if you can do something every day that can help with that a little bit, then why not do it? And it has loads of health benefits in terms of moving your body. So for me, like, movement has been so key. And one of the things that I've been doing over the last couple of years with all the lockdowns and everything that we've had is just ensuring that I get in some sort of movement every day, either going for a walk or doing some stretching or some yoga, just some sort of movement into my body that gets me into my physical body and out of my head. And it can have so many huge benefits for you. If it's, you want to start your day with a 20-minute stretch, if you want to go out for a half an hour walk after your lunch, if you want to go for a walk after you've had your dinner or whatever in the evening, whatever it is, like, if you can really commit to that every day, I can promise you that you're going to notice a big difference between when you started the walk and when you ended the walk, or when you started the yoga and when you ended the yoga. Just having those moments to just be and not really have a kind of anything that you're trying to do, like just going out, walking, being in nature can be so beneficial, just to quiet down the level of your thinking, to quiet down your mind, so you can really just be more present and be more and have more clarity around whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever it is you're trying to complete, whether it's a bit of work, whether it's reading, whether it's writing, whether it's a creative project, whatever it is. Like, you will perform a lot better at that thing with a quieter mind. And for me, movement is one of the things, going out for walks specifically, is one of the things that really helps just bring that level of thinking down and really quiet that mind. So I hope that this episode has been helpful for you. If it has, I'd love to hear from you. To do so, just hit me up on Instagram at @IamAlexManzi, DM me and let me know what has been the one thing out of the losing the idea of motivation, setting commitments for yourself, and movement that you really want to take up for yourself this year and create a life-changing habit for yourself. To do so, message me on Instagram at @IamAlexManzi. My DMs are always open. I'm always here to create conversations with people. Like, I record these episodes not because I just want to shout into my camera and my microphone, but I want to create a conversation with you guys who are listening. So please do hit me up. Let me know your learnings from this episode, and I'd love to hear from you. So I'd like to thank London Media Lounge for editing this episode, and to Hobgoblin Beats for providing the music. And as always, I want to thank you for taking the time with me today, and I will see you for the next episode.